Hi everyone, Sandman here. Today's video is brought to you by a donation from Mr. Anonymous, and here's what he has to say. Hey Sandman, I'm a middle-aged Korean guy living in the United States, and your videos have solidified my observations about women, and I think that you're saving a lot of lives with your work. Today I wanted to share that Korean women are some of the most insidious, cerebral, and controlling women in the entire world. I was a mega mangina my entire life, and back in high school I dated a girl who was about 2 levels out of my league. As a self-proclaimed hippie, she was beautiful, talented, and very charming. I was so whipped from the get-go that on the night we started dating, I came home after the first kiss and recorded a selfie video about how I'm in heaven and how I can't believe I kissed an angel. Then I showed her the video the following day. I can imagine the satisfaction and salivation that she felt, knowing that my heart was on a platter to her to devour. For the next 2 years, she openly flirted and caressed other guys right in front of me. Broke up with me because her feelings for her ex-boyfriend had returned over winter break, and admitted to accidentally hooking up with another dude at a party. Even after all of this, it was she who had to break up with me because I was too whipped. Writing this depresses me, and I'm ashamed of how easily I got trampled on by women, but after watching your videos I felt compelled to share this with you, as well as the MGTOW community, to serve as a reminder of just how powerful and blinding the vagina is. Needless to say, all of my ex-girlfriends ended up cheating on me. But here's what's interesting. I've dated an Indian, a few Caucasians, as well as a few Korean girls. And the Korean girls are the only ones that never actually admitted that they cheated. My most recent relationship was with a Korean girl, and I thought that I'd actually found an Awalt. She was cute, reserved, down-to-earth, goofy, seemingly non-materialistic, and fed my ego with compliments like, "You're so manly, and you're not like all the other guys." But after about a year of dating her, she began to reveal her true colors, one layer at a time. She did things like never picking up the phone and calling me back a few minutes later instead, getting wasted at mandatory company functions that lasted late into the night 3 times a week, and flirtatious Facebook messages from her male coworkers on her page started to pop up. But like a moth encircled by a spider's web, I still couldn't see the truth. The only way I woke up from this mangina coma was after finding out from a friend that she was riding the cock carousel with their coworkers as well as a few friends of mine from college. At the end of the day, I blame myself for the delusion in my head. Sure, she was deceptive and manipulative, but it was just as much about how I didn't want my fantasy to end. Because we were imperfect, and I suspect that even the most discerning MGTOWs have blind spots, and can fall prey to the most patient female predators who study their prey for many years and sting them into submission as soon as they discover that particular blind spot. And the vagina beam is so strong that the dude would actually still think he has control over it in his mind. That's probably why girls keep around gay guys or friend-zone manginas around in order to extract insight about the male psyche. I think guys should be doing the same thing by keeping an ugly girl around to basically smell out female bullshit. She would have to be really ugly and completely unsexable for this to work. Anyway, my question for you today is this. What are some of the most dangerous red flags that you've seen when interacting with women? I think it would be useful for anyone in the MGTOW movement that still dates to actually read this list before they head out on their dates. Thanks for investing so much time and energy into helping other men. And have a great day, Sandman. Well, Mr. Anonymous, thanks for the donation as well as shattering men's image out there about Asian women. The fact that your ex didn't admit to cheating shows me yet again that Asian women are smarter and better at covering their tracks than either Caucasian as well as Indian women. But with regards to red flags, the first one is obviously the crazy flag. There's a reason why there's a Reddit group called Don't Stick Your Dick in Crazy. If a woman starts acting crazy immediately after you start dating her, then don't have sex with her if it's the last thing you do. It will just mess you up emotionally because you can't really fall in love with someone that treats you like a doormat. So that brings me to the second flag. About a month or 2 into dating or a relationship, the woman will usually start to treat you like dog crap because she knows that you love her. How ironic is that? She has to be nice to you until you fall in love with her, but when she realizes that you're hooked, like a prize bass, she then resorts to treating you poorly. Sometimes it takes longer than a few months. I remember on a 1-year anniversary I was told all the bad things that I was doing and that I needed to change about myself. You know the whole get some therapy, buy me some better gifts, and bring some wine to my mother's house on Friday. Another girlfriend it almost took her 2.5 years before she started telling me what to do. And because I only had 2 major relationships in 15 years as an adult, I didn't think that this type of behavior was woman-specific. I thought it was specific to the individual woman that I was dating. Since then I've dated 4 women, and I see the same pattern in red flags. Another red flag that I've noticed is that women in their 30s are often so desperate to get pregnant, and they're willing to have sex as soon as possible to get knocked up with the guy. They're looking for good genes as they enter the 8th inning in their reproductive years. They're usually irrational and don't want to use condoms, and all they seem to care about is getting pregnant. They don't care about STDs, condoms, or the pill. That to me is a red flag that you're just a sperm donor and you need to basically get the hell out of there as quickly as possible. Another huge red flag is a woman in her late 20s or 30s with debt or barely any money saved. If she doesn't have a financial plan, then you're the financial bailout plan for her. If that means marrying you or basically getting pregnant to get child support and alimony, then so be it. They're desperate, so remember that. Financially troubled women in their late 20s and 30s know their only chance at having a good lifestyle in the future and living the good life is to find a man to provide it for them. If they haven't become successful on their own by their early to mid 30s, then you need a man for money. Don't be that man. But if they have wealthy parents and a hefty inheritance, then I often find that they're basically willing to treat you poorly right off the bat when they meet you because they don't really need you to basically fall in love with them. If she disrespects you right away, no matter how rich she is or her parents are, run away as quickly as possible. Obvious red flags are single mothers, women that can't keep a relationship longer than 6 months, or women that have been married multiple times. Other red flags early on are basically how she treats servers at a restaurant or on dates. If she's rude and disrespectful to them, then she has no respect and no decency. These red flags are quite easy to pick up. It's the women that play mysterious which are the ones that you actually have to watch out for. The really smart women know that the only way a woman can basically hide her red flags is to be quiet, submissive, and play dumb or shy. Those women scare me the most because if you can't communicate with them, then you don't know what's lurking below the surface. If she tells you that she's shy, but then you basically catch her being outgoing with her friends and family, then you know that she's hiding her true colors from you. A good way to find this out is to ask her friends if she acts differently when you're around. If they say yes, then you've basically got an actress on your hands. You'll never know what she's thinking until you're basically neck deep in it. And ironically, this is both the best and worst woman to be in a relationship with. She knows how to be submissive and let a man dominate her, but at the same time she rules the relationship from a psychological level because she's hiding from you in plain sight. And that describes perfectly the relationship I was in for almost 10 years. My girlfriend was quiet and hiding from me right there. Looking back on it today, that was basically the best relationship I've ever had because there wasn't really one there to begin with. Another big red flag. As you can all see, there are so many red flags, like feeding your ego. Whenever a woman would feed my ego in the past, I would insult her back. I never knew why I was doing this back then, but now I know that subconsciously I was trying to protect myself from women's ego-boosting flattery. If a woman wants sex too quickly, that's also a red flag. She's obviously a carousel rider. And if she wants it before you do, then she's either trying to lock you in as quickly as possible emotionally, or she doesn't have any respect for herself but is willing to let someone she barely knows into her body. Think how many times that she's done that before. In the words of Turd-Flinging Monkey, women are like roller coasters. The ride is short, and there's often a lineup of guys behind you waiting to get on the ride. There's so many red flags that I'd literally be here all day giving them to you. But the more you date, the more of these red flags that you're going to see in the future. To the point where you see all women as liars and deceivers. They all use the same techniques, but in the past, men and women dated very few people before getting married, so most men like myself were completely ignorant about female nature. And when a man finally gets the divorce papers, of course, he's completely shocked because the man knew nothing about women to begin with. You can either love women or you can understand them. You can't do both. Other red flags include if she never calls you and expects you to be the one calling her all the time. Talking to an ex-boyfriend usually means that she wants to monkey branch back to him, and you're just keeping the seat warm like those people at the Oscars that fill the seats when the celebrity has to go take a piss. And as soon as the celebrity is back, they're whisked away. The trick I find while dating now is to mark all the red flags down and keep track of how often they happen. Once the frequency and severity of them can't be ignored, it's time to pull the ripcord and eject. It's only going to go downhill fast and crash from there. And when you start pointing out her red flags to her, that's when the arguments usually begin. And once you become aware of the red flags, then it's impossible not to see them anymore. So memorize the points that I just mentioned at your own peril. If you're going to date, then I suggest that you basically move away as quickly as possible once the red flags start. If she's quiet and submissive, then she's hiding from you and not communicating. All women are irrational, and if they aren't, then they're just sitting there quietly so they don't attract any attention to their irrational thinking. They're usually ashamed of being women, and that too is bad for their self-esteem. And if they have terrible self-esteem, then that too is a red flag. Because if their esteem ever increases, they might actually think they can do better than you, and you'll be history. And just so you know, the women that hide in plain sight usually wear black and have very high IQs. I think it's really smart women that try and draw the least amount of attention to themselves by raising the red flags. I would love to hear what everyone else thinks, so please don't be shy and share in the comments section below. Anyways, thank you Mr. Anonymous for your donation. And as for everyone else out there, please follow me on Twitter or like me on Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Thanks for taking your daily dose of red pills. And remember, a red pill a day keeps the divorce lawyers away. So enjoy the rest of your day, and cheers.